I'm just going to tighten these up so this brake drum is not sitting like this on the shoes. It's actually sitting flat against the hub, and then I can make my brake adjustments. So I'm going to tighten it up so it screws it up. Okay, and now I'm ready to make my brake adjustment. Automatic slack adjusters. The only time you should mess with this is initial setup. It's called automatic slack adjuster because it's supposed to automatically adjust by itself to control brake lining to drum wear or clearance. Okay, but when we first put it on, we have to make the initial adjustment. So I'm gonna get on there. Not making any noise. Shoes are going closer to the drum. Right now my shoes have made contact with the drum. The drum will not spin. Now I'm going to back it off a quarter to half turn. I usually do a quarter turn just because it's easy. So if that's straight up, I'm going to bring my wrench back out here so it's making a 90-degree from there. That's a quarter of a turn. So right there is my quarter of a turn. Okay? Now to check to see if I've done what I need to do. There's two strokes that I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure a free stroke and applied stroke. Free stroke is the movement of this clevis and slack adjuster just by what you can do with your hand. So I try to get behind the jam nut of my clevis, and my initial measurement, see if I can get this tape measure so you all can see it, is somewhere around, let's just go 2.5 to the back edge of the pin. Okay? So when I pull this out, I'm going to measure again to the back edge of the pin. There we go. And I measured 3 inches to the back edge of the pin. Okay? I got a 1/2 inch of free stroke. That's pretty tight. Okay? I'm looking for a 1/2 to 3/4 inch of free stroke. And now I'm going to measure applied stroke. If theoretically, if free stroke is right, applied stroke ought to be correct. But what happens is, if free stroke is good, applied stroke is out, that means this S-cam, the bushings are wore out in it, and it's trying to twist and turn instead of just turn. Okay? So now, we start off with 2.5 to the back edge of the pin. Okay? And then I'm going to make a brake application. I'm going to put at least 90 psi of air to the system to see how far that slack adjuster is going to travel. So I went from 2.5 to almost 3 3/4. So I got 1 1/4 inches of movement. Okay? That's what I want. I want that to happen. That means that whole thing is moving. Okay? Now, our foundation part of this is working. Now I'm going to compound this brake. That means I'm going to have spring pressure and foot brake pressure against this. I don't want that. If I do that, when I do it, I want you to watch the movement of the S-cam tube and this brake chamber. There's a tremendous amount of power going through that thing, and it'll kink and break the bolts off our S-cam tube. Compounding is when I have service brake pressure against spring brake pressure. So on this trainer, all I'm going to do is let the air out of my emergency side and watch all this happen. I got to take my caging bolt out first, sorry. See all this kinking right here? It's easier to see. I'm going to make another service brake application. That's just spring pressure pushing against it now. Okay, watch while I'm putting service brake pressure against emergency brake pressure. All this is kinking. That's a bad deal. These bolts are going to shear. Most of the time it's the ones right off the back of your spider that shear. Okay? So that is Q-brake installation removal. We checked our S-cam for movement, no more than 25 thousandths both ways. Slack adjuster adjustment, and our brake chamber. The two parts of the brake chamber is the service side's the front, emergency side's in the back. All right, more videos.